everyday thing. It's an everyday thing. It's an everyday thing when you let your nuts hang.
Papini was found shackled, bruised, and branded.
Well, first, that I am incredibly sorry for keeping the secret. Incredibly sorry that I wasn't brave enough to tell the truth.
You're a convicted liar.
But after a DNA match with her ex-boyfriend, she admitted she lied and served time in prison.
It's so much more complex than just pointing the finger and saying, "You're a liar."
I was taken against my will and held captive for 22 days and tortured and brutalized.
8 years later, she says it was not a hoax after all. The question is, who's going to believe her?
Haven't you ever lied?
Papini says she never told police the truth because she was afraid of James Reyes.
I did not plan a hoax kidnapping, and something incredibly dangerous happened. I don't deserve what's happening to me with my children.
There are several versions of what happened out there. This is mine.
Sherry was also ordered to pay $300,000 for costs associated with the false kidnapping.
And also afraid of her then husband, Keith Papini, who she now says was emotionally abusive and controlling.
Are you dating?
Oh gosh, right now I am so busy with everything that's happening. My primary focus is Tyler and Violet.
Who is watching Sherry Papini, Caught in the Lie, because we need to talk about part 3, Multiple Truths. Sherry says her kids were stolen by her ex-husband, okay? They were never taken by the court. Really don't know how that works, okay? While she's in prison, the Lifetime movie comes out about her. So, of course, everyone is gathered around, okay? Said they were communicating that morning. Said he was super pushy, okay? Told him she was going for a run. She said she saw a car pull up, okay? Her phone fell. And when she reached down to get it, that's the last thing she remembers, okay? The documentarian calls her out. And that she clearly lied about that.
So you guys remember that documentary about Sarah Papini, the lady who was missing and supposedly she got arrested because the whole thing was a hoax? And she went to jail and they said that she lied. So now she has her own documentary.
Sherry Papini just told on herself. She goes to her big crafting closet and she pulls out some like tree stumps that had been like cut down and sanded down to be made into gifts that her dad did for her. And then she pulls out a branding tool. See, the devil's in the details here. The reason why she knew to tell James to go to Hobby Lobby and buy this wood burning tool is because she owned a wood burning tool that she used at home for her crafts. I don't know, call me crazy, but it seems to me that if you were going to kidnap your ex-fiancée and you want to brand something on her, I do not think that your first thought would be a wood burning tool from Hobby Lobby.
Hello, my name is Catherine, or Kat. A friend of mine had the idea that I start making some videos for TikTok to try and get my story out there and maybe solicit some legal help. So my ex is dating someone notorious and in the process of fighting a custody battle and being really dirty about it. So call my ex Phony Pickle. He's with a woman whose name rhymes with Harry Panini. She's notorious, locally at least, because about 5 years ago she went missing, but it turns out she kidnapped herself and reappeared magically on Thanksgiving, all bruised and beaten up after having her ex-boyfriend, whatever. And now she's changed her story again, and in the last year, she and my ex have just been awful.
Alright, so this story is about a woman named Sherry Panini, or Papini. Sherry Papini. Sherry Papini. I'm going to put this whole story together. So Sherry Papini, she faked her kidnapping. So she said she was kidnapped for 3 weeks when actually she said she was kidnapped by 2 Latino women. And she said she knew because of their hair and their baby hairs or something like that, and their makeup. And then she's, when all actuality, she was with her ex-boyfriend for like 3 weeks, hiding out, having sex with him. And then when all her lies became public, it was just all bad. So let's hear her story.
Hello, I'm Catherine. I'm the girl that Sherry Papini recently tried to get a restraining order against. The judge threw it out because it's all bullshit, and I'm making these videos because I think it's disgusting that people have been giving her a platform and she's still a compulsive, grotesque liar. And she's been lying directly about me and my family, and I'm here to address that. So give me some forgiveness if I'm a little jumbled. I'm going to try to tell the story chronologically, but it's been going on for almost 10 months now. So if I falter, you know, that's why. It's 10 months of story at this point that I need to share. Okay, so in August of 2024, right after my birthday and right after my dad died, Sherry Papini had moved to our small town, Shingletown, in Northern California. Before she moved up here, or when she moved up here, my partner of 16 years was online writing all this nasty stuff about how he didn't want her here, our town didn't want her, making a bunch of jokes, yeah, just generally being kind of vicious, which I thought was mean and necessary. Personally, I hadn't followed the story. The second a white lady claims to be kidnapped by people of color, my brain shuts off and I automatically assume they're full of shit, and I don't need to concern myself with people like that. So it was not something I followed. He was into it, and I wasn't. So she moves to our small town. She's in a home purchased by her ex-boyfriend, Sean Hibden, who used to own auto dealerships around here. She's in a relative mansion for the area, driving a car that Sean Hibden bought her, and that's that. And then end of August, my family, we went to a community event. I was the face painter there. My daughter and I come home, and my ex, I'm going to call him Phony so that I don't use his real name and get in trouble. Phony is a big drinker. It's been a problem, pretty much forever. So he stayed at the event a lot longer than my kid and I did. There were whispers that Sherry Papini was there. I didn't give two shits and came home. He comes bounding through the door, and he says he's met her, and he's so excited. And he tells me that he went up and introduced himself, and at some point she's like, do you know who I am, or don't you know who I am? And he's like, no, playing dumb. And goes, as far as I know, you're the prettiest girl in Shingletown. And he's telling me this, like, ouch. Literally just a week before this, I had a friend over, which is rare because he doesn't, he made it so I had no friends. And also, no one could come to our house. There's always a reason why he didn't want anyone that I liked coming over. But this one night, I had a friend over. She was doing laundry, and her kids were there. And Tony showed up drunk and hung out with us. And we actually talked about, open relationships. He went on this long thing about why he would never have an open relationship, and how I had actually brought it up at one point, which I did because our relationship was such a toxic mess that I think I was trying to find solutions, to keep us together for the kids' sake. Dumb me. But, so I'm just saying this because later he goes on to claim that, I think he claimed to her that we weren't together, that we had an open marriage or whatever, but we didn't. And I have, witnesses who actually heard him talking about it saying, no, we didn't. And it was his choice. So, let's see. Okay, so he meets Sherry, he comes home, tells me that he hit on her. I'm my heart's in my stomach, and I'm numb, and He says that he's going over to our house to fix the doorknob, and and these are his words, that the dumb bitch is giving him $300 to fix the doorknob. And I'm like, is that a good idea? And he goes, oh, yeah. My flooring friend's going to be there, and we might be able to turn it into a bigger job. And I'm like, okay. A couple days later, he goes over there, and he's gone for like 6 to 8 hours. And when he came back, he was relatively sober, which immediately let me know that there was something wrong, because, this guy is a drinker. And the fact that he came home sober after being gone that long, I was just like, oh my God, what's going on? And he proceeds to tell me about how she's amazing, and she's innocent, and Keith is, oh, hey, guys, don't fight. Come on. We have a stray cat that has tried to adopt us, but he's, hey, calm down. He's just saying hi. He doesn't want to hurt you. Yeah, this stray cat, anyways, has basically made a home of our home. And by the way, I can't afford to feed him. He eats a lot. So if anyone in Shasta County wants to adopt an extremely friendly, all black male cat, I got him neutered. Please let me know, because my cats don't like him, and he is very needy and very lovey, but I can't afford him right now. So, what was my point? Oh, so Sherry Papini, he's telling me that she's innocent, and that she was being beat up by Keith, and that Keith lied about her abusing the kids so that he could get custody. And I was like, abusing the kids? What? I hadn't even heard this part of it, because I hadn't watched any of the documentaries at that point. And then he goes, now she's the victim's advocate. She's been completely exonerated, and when people get kidnapped, the FBI and local police call her in to help out the victim. And that's when I was like, oh my God, what are you talking about? I haven't watched the documentaries, but even I know, she went to jail for fraud, and, for maybe she didn't go to jail for pulling the hoax, but it's been uncovered with the FBI that she hoaxed her kidnapping. So I'm like, what is he talking about? And it got better. And then he talks about how, so she's a victim's advocate. She's pulled in to support victims when they've been kidnapped. And I'm going, Tony, come on. Can you imagine if someone goes through the most harrowing experience of their life, they get kidnapped, they get recovered, and they're like, here's Sherry Papini to help. And I was just like, you can't honestly believe this nonsense. And he was sold hook, line, and sinker. She also told him that she goes to universities and colleges around the world, giving classes or giving talks in criminology classes about victim blaming and all this stuff. Sorry, what else? Oh, that she that Eminem included her in a song, and that to apologize for erroneously, sullying her name, he invited her to go on tour with him, and is going to bring her up on stage to dance to the Houdini song every time or something. And then that night, or that day when Phony and her were hanging out, they played the song over and over on repeat, and were dancing to it. And I was just like, what parallel universe have I entered? Bizarro world. This was so, oh my God, I can't even imagine being that pathetic. I just can't. I can't even wrap my head around it. So he's over the moon, and that was the beginning of the end. For the next month, he conducted an open affair with her. He'd see her during the day and at night, and he was lying about where he was, and then he would come home, and he was drinking way more than he ever has, and so he was super drunk, and he would spend hours on the phone with her, on speakerphone, in the master bedroom, sharing a wall with our daughter's room. And so our 10-year-old was listening to him, telling this woman that, like, he's, never felt love like this before, and that sex with her is the most amazing thing. And every time I confront him, he'd say, we're just friends. And then my daughter would, say something like, oh, he said, I can't wait to have tummy kisses and butt grabs with you. And I'm like, a 10-year-old can't invent this sort of thing. And he's, he just kind of looks stupid at me, like, oh, I can't deny it. Like, and then it got to the point where I'm bursting in on them while they're talking and screaming, Sherry, why can't you find yourself a single guy? Why do you have to go after a married man? And she'd laugh at me, and then he'd, like, push me out of the room. And this is relevant because she later claims that we were split up when she met him, and that's total bullshit. She knew that I was in the picture. I was constantly interrupting their conversations, screaming at him, screaming at her, and they didn't care. They just kept having their affair. Things would get bad, and I would lock him out, and he would break back in. At one point, though, I thought it was kind of falling apart. He didn't hear from her for like 3 days, and he was a mess. He's thinking that the documentary crew found out about the stuff he wrote online, or they found out that he's not a real contractor, and all this stuff. And then I guess she finally called him again, and I hear him talking to her saying, I don't care if you sleep with everybody on the production crew in Los Angeles, as long as you come home to me. And I was just like, oh my God, this is so pathetic and weird. And then I guess she, didn't agree to that or something, because then he got angry, and when he was drunker that night, he's saying, if you drop me, you're gonna lose the best guy you've ever had in your life. And I was like, whoa, flashback, because 2 weeks into dating him, I was trying to break up with him. I knew right off the bat this is not a good guy, and he would gaslight me, and I was so unfamiliar with gaslighting back then that I let it happen. It was like the idea of you get mad at someone because they do something, and then they get mad at you for being mad at them. Like, that kept happening, and I didn't know how to handle it. And every time I tried to end things with him, he'd like overwhelm me with love bombing and pestering and almost stalking, until like I'd kind of let him back in my life. And God, even when I was pregnant, I tried to break up with him, and I told him that I would tell everyone we knew that I cheated on him and the baby wasn't his, just so he could look like the good guy and leave. And he didn't agree to it. He wanted to be there to raise the kid. And that was the biggest mistake I've ever made in my life. I should have left him then and raised her on my own, because it has been downhill fast and furious ever since then. Because he never grew up. He never put on his big boy pants. He couldn't hold a job. He never stopped drinking. He was a decent father until she was about 5, and then once she stopped being like a complete, reflection of him, when she grew her own personality, he checked out. Like, so he's been a pretty crappy parent, and it's been like having an adult child in the home that I have to take care of. I do all the cooking, the cleaning, I pay the rent. That's not true. He paid half the rent, but he'd pay it late. And he got us evicted from the last place because he didn't pay rent for 10 months, and he lied about it to everybody, including me and his parents. And yeah, and so then I go to the eviction proceeding thinking there's been some mistake, and find out, nope, he's been lying for 10 months. And I had to give the landlord every penny I had because I was so ashamed and embarrassed. And anyways, so while he's having his affair with Sherry Papini, we were actually in another eviction. This one was a little bit less our fault because the landlord had mailed our rent check back, and then proceeded to evict us anyways, because she was trying to sell the house and she wanted us out fast. However, I do think that had he not been such an asshole to her, and had he been paying his half of rent on time, she might have let us stay there while she sold the place. But because, you know, I'm dealing with a narcissistic grown child, it didn't work out that way. So he's seeing Sherry. They're on the phone all the time. My daughter is slowly breaking down. She's saying she stopped calling him daddy and was calling him father. And she'd say things like, Mom, can we donate all my toys to a kid who needs them? And I'd be like, you know, that's a nice idea, but why do you want to do that? And she's like, oh, because I lost my imagination. I can't play anymore. Poor baby. And then, another one was, she said that she doesn't feel anymore. She's like, it's great. I don't feel angry or sad. She's like, I don't feel happy or anything anymore. It's wonderful. And that was it. That was my wake-up call. So I call him up and I'm like, you need to put a stop to this. Either you leave us and you pursue something with Sherry, or you commit to the family. No matter what you choose, you have to talk to your kid. You know, because I've been telling her over and over that everything's going to be okay, and that no matter what he does, he still loves her, and you know, we'll always be friends, and we'll always find a way to be a family. And how dumb was I? Stupid me. I wish I had a glimpse of the future. But okay, so I leave this message for him saying the thing about, you know, you have to choose shit or get off the pot time. And he calls me back and says that, you know, he hears me loud and clear and he's made a decision. And then he came home that night. And I'm sure he actually saw her first, but he said that it was to break up with her and that it was all over. And he was committing to the family, and we spent hours that night talking on the phone, or talking together and crying. And I actually had apologized like a fucking idiot. And by the end of it, he was shit-faced drunk again and chasing me around with his little dick out, trying to get us to fuck. And I'm like, I'm not ready. You've been fucking this other woman all month. Like, I'm not okay with this. And then the very next morning we had to go to court, and we went to court, and I dropped him off in his car, because the only vehicle, working vehicle we had was his truck at that time. I won't even get into how we lost my car, because I blame him still, and I'm still angry about it. But so I didn't have a car, I didn't have a working computer. Well, I'll get into that when he left. So we go to court, and I honestly thought we had a chance of winning, but it's Shasta County, and we didn't, because she had mailed her rent check back and evicted us, and I thought maybe that I could prove we had paid. It wouldn't work, but we lost, and he wanted to go to a Reading bar after court. I dropped him off there and took his truck home, and 3 o'clock rolls around, and he's still not home. 4 o'clock, I get a message, and he says that he's crashing at his friend's house. And I wrote back, like, you know, don't come home. Like, I can't believe you think it's okay to stay out after everything we've been through and talked about. And then, you know, a day later, he still hadn't come home, and he called me and screaming. I was at my friend's. His dad's like, he was at his friend's. I'm like, I don't care if he was at his friend's or not. You know, he's been cheating all month. This was his chance to, like, make it up to me, and he stayed gone for 2 nights. Like, I don't care. And then he broke back into the house. Oh, God. And then when he broke in that time, I actually think it was a sleepover. Our daughter was having a sleepover, and he still managed to break in the house. And thank God the girls didn't wake up and get scared over it, but it was a nightmare. Okay, I'm going to take a quick break, and then I'll finish this part of it. Okay, so he broke back into the house, and during the sleepover, and to do that, he pried our back door, like, off of its hinges practically. He bent it in half and made it so it never closed again. Tried breaking in through a bunch of different windows, breaking them in the process. Finally found a window that I had not secured well enough, this little tiny one above the master bedroom bed, and that he, tore the screen off and managed to climb through. And I hear him doing this, and so I play possum on the couch and act like I'm asleep because I didn't want to have the big confrontation, especially when there's, 2 little girls over. So, okay. Let me just say that, this was an incredibly toxic relationship, and I was like the frog in the boiling pot where, the heat keeps going up higher and higher and the frog doesn't jump out because it's not realizing that the water's boiling. It's going incrementally. I was the frog. I did not realize until it was all over how abusive the situation was. Emotional, verbal, financial, physical, separated from friends and family, isolated in the middle of nowhere. This is my excuse for why I didn't cut bait and run faster. So he breaks in, and for the next 3 days we are acting like things are okay, but they're not. He's constantly running out to the garage to have phone calls with Sherry, and I run out and catch him, and he swears up and down that he's talking to a friend, and it's bullshit. I knew it was bullshit, but at one point I even hear him say, is the gate code the same? And then I'm like, gate code? And he's like, oh, I'm going over to my friend's house. And I'm like, yeah, your friend who lives in this tiny little 1-bedroom cabin in the middle of the woods has a gate code? I don't think so. And one time we were actually driving behind him when he was trying to go to Sherry's house, and he faked having his car break down on the side of the road so that he wouldn't make the turn right in front of us. And I mean, he just thinks I'm like, he thought or thinks I'm the stupidest person on earth. But maybe I was, because I was letting him get away with it. Because I was numb and frozen and not coping. So for another 3 days or so, it's going on like this, with him lying down and still seeing her. And I'm making dinner one night, and he's on the porch drinking and smoking and talking to a friend, like he does all the time when he's not at the bar drinking. And I have to run to the store to get an ingredient for dinner, and when I come back, my daughter comes running up to me, and she's really upset, and she says that she heard her dad say, why can't I move into Sherry's mansion and fuck her and keep my family? Like, what's so wrong with that? And I say, well, kiddo, that kind of sounds like he's making a joke. And she's like, big eyes, no, you have to say something, Mom. So I get my courage up and I go outside, and he's on the home phone. So I say that that I got an email from her daughter's school that I need to access her account, her email account, and I need his phone. And he gives me his mean, intimidating face that he does when he's trying to be scary or intimidating, and and he can tell I'm lying, and because I'm not a good liar, unlike some people. Okay, so he hands me the phone, and the second I have it in my hot little hands, I go running to the bathroom, I lock myself in, and he's right on my tail. He comes running right after me, and I immediately open it up and look at his phone calls, and they're all Sherry. And then I go to his texts, and they're all Sherry. And I start sending myself like the most recent text proving that they're still together, because he's lying to everyone at this point, saying that they're just friends and shit. And I mean, some of his friends he's being honest with, but like his family and my family, he's telling everyone that I'm crazy and jealous, over their friendship. And it's just like, fuck you, dude. So I send myself the proof, and then I keep going through, and I see all the naked pictures that she's been sending him, and I'm like, gross. And did I talk about the scar thing? When he said that he wanted to trace her scars with his, or when he saw her, he was going to trace the scars on her back with his fingertips or something. And by that point, I had watched the Hulu documentary, and I realized he was talking about her self-inflicted scars, and I was like, you know, like, you. Okay, wackadoodles. You know, you guys have fun doing that shit. So I'm locked in the bathroom. He is trying to break the doors down. It was a Jack and Jill bathroom. So one door goes out to my office. The other goes into my daughter's room. He's running back and forth between the two doors, punching holes in them, trying to rip the doors off the wall. And he's succeeding. I mean, like, the doors are breaking down. And I tell him I'm calling 911. Oh, before I tell him I'm calling 911, he's saying things like, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to murder you. He's saying this because he is so afraid that I'm talking to Sherry. He thought I was calling Sherry and telling her whatever the truth about his lies are. You know, maybe that he knew who she was and he had talked shit about her, or maybe that he's not really a contractor, or maybe that I'm not a, you know, or that we're still together. I mean, she knew that, so I don't know what the lies were at this point. I had an inkling because he also told me about a murder plot that they had come up with for me. So yeah, I'll get into that some other time. I haven't even shared this with anyone. Well, that's not true. I shared it with, at the time, with my mom and people close to me, because I was like, if I show up dead, this is why. I'll do a hair follicle test and stuff, because they poisoned me, sort of thing. Okay, so sorry, that was a tangent. So he's trying to break down the doors, and he's screaming that he's going to kill me. And at one point, I try to leave through one of the doors, and he comes running back through the room, and the look on his face was murderous. I mean, it was rage, it was hate, it was rage. I honestly realized at that point, like, he wanted me dead. He fucking hated me. So I called 911, and while I called them, he's still screaming in the background that he's going to kill me. And it's all in the police report. You know, the operator, the 911 dispatcher operator heard him. And so I basically say I want him out of the house, and that I was calling on his phone, that I will give his phone back to him if he leaves, but I want them on the line. So I open the door and I give him his phone back, and I immediately call him back on my phone, and he leaves. But on his way out, he turns to my daughter, our 10-year-old daughter, and gets in her face and says, "This is your fault." To a 10-year-old, like a freaking psycho. You know, shame on this guy. And the way he treated her for the next, like, month got even worse. So I immediately enroll my daughter in therapy. I enroll myself in therapy. And her therapist, upon hearing about that last night, actually called CPS to do an investigation, because I guess the question is, like, how damaged is our daughter from this traumatic event. So they do investigate, and I also have a copy of that report. And they said that as long as dad is out of the house, daughter is safe now. They interviewed our kid, they interviewed me, they interviewed him. He lied about the interview to me for months, saying that they said I was alienating her from him and all this crap. And I was like, I know that's not true, because they made it very clear that they were only closing the case because he was no longer in the home. If I had let him back in, then, you know, there would be a reason to investigate and possibly remove her. But because I had protected her, and because she made it very clear to the investigators that she feels safe with me, and you know, is cared for by me, that it's okay, like, that it's over, and they closed it. He later admitted to a therapist that that CPS actually told him to stay away. But, you know, to me, he's saying, "Oh, my friend Rob was there, and they heard, he can tell you everything they said." And I was like, are you sure they're not, you know, that you didn't hear what you wanted to hear, or that maybe the woman made like non-committal like while you were talking. You interpreted that this one way, but no, it turns out he was just lying about it later. Okay, so he leaves, and I call his dad, and it's really late for his dad, and I say, heads up, he's probably going to come to your house. Things are over. I'm not like it. There's no fixing this, because his dad kept saying, "Let me talk to him and I'll fix this." And I was like, "Nope, this is it. It's done." 2 hours later, his dad calls me back and says, he's not answering the phone and I haven't seen him. And I was like, "Oh, okay." Big guess to where he went. And then about an hour after that, I get a call from Phony's number, and it's him, and he is so drunk he can barely string like 3 words together. And when I hear how drunk he is, I start laughing, and I'm like, "Oh my God, you got even drunker, you pathetic fool." And he's going, "Oh, you're doing drugs in front of our kids. I'm going to tell the cops you're doing drugs in front of our kid." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? Good luck telling the cops anything." And I basically was like, please call the cops. Like, I'd love for them to hear you like this. Turns out he actually did. Just hilarious. Oh my God. And then he said something about how he's coming back, and I said, "If you show up here, I have one of your guns and I'm not afraid to use it." And I meant it. Like, I don't think I would have killed him, but I wasn't going to let him kill me. And then, he crowed, "Oh, I've got you on tape, I've got you recorded saying you're going to kill me." And I'm like, "No, but you said you were going to kill me a bunch of times tonight, and I'm not going to let you come over here and hurt me. So, don't show up." And I got like 3 more calls from them, and the whole she doesn't drink thing. Okay, because at one point she says, "Hey, I hope nothing happens to your daughter," and he laughs. And I'm like, did that bitch just threaten our child? Like, what in God's name? And he goes, no. She's saying she hopes that you don't hurt our daughter. And I'm like, why would you laugh over anyone hurting our daughter? You sick fuck. Like, I keep having this whole, like, what bizarro world am I in moments with him. Like, he's never been a great guy, but, like, he wasn't deranged until he met Sherry Papini. So he literally moved immediately into her house, came and got the dog, and did not take the dog to her house, dropped the dog off at his parents' house. So he didn't just abandon the kid, me, he also abandoned our poor fucking dog, who he still doesn't have. And who, like, the dog, his mom goes around town complaining, "No, I have 4 dogs," and whatever. So, okay, so he moved in with her immediately. That night, before he took, came back and got his stuff and took the dog, that night I got a call from a number I didn't recognize, and it was a girl saying that she's Sherry's best friend, Nikki, and she said all the same stuff Tony did about how Sherry's like a victim's advocate now, and she's a great person, and she's afraid of Tony, and does she need to worry that Sherry's going to be raped by Tony because she doesn't like him, and she's only, and I'm like, what do you mean she doesn't like him? I saw the messages, like, what are you talking about? And she's like, oh, well, she only let him, oh, and I'm saying, why would she let him in if she doesn't like him? And she's like, because she's afraid, and she's trying to help him and all this crap. And I'm like, I'll just post the call so you guys can hear it, because by that point, after he said recording things, I started recording things. So I recorded the call, and it's just crazy. And I guess it's the same girl who's in her fake docuseries, I guess her jailhouse friend. But poor Nikki, I mean, she seems like she actually has a good heart and good intentions, and she's just another person getting taken advantage of by Sherry. Okay, so that was the night he left. He was horrible right off the bat. Every time he would try to talk to our daughter, he would scream and yell at her because she didn't want to see him, and the counselor was telling me to respect her wishes. And so the first couple of weeks, like, he'd want to see her, and I actually made her see him on occasion. Like, when he came over to the house, I made her come outside and talk to him. On Halloween, he wanted to do this, he does this thing where he passes out candy with his camper group, which is supposed to be a historical society, but up here it's like a drinking group that he's trying to turn into a gang. I'll get into that in a second. And I asked him, like, you know, could you please just stay home from the trick-or-treating thing so she can have one night without stress? And he was basically like, F you, F her. I'm going to be there. If she doesn't want to go, then don't take her. Because he's a child and he doesn't, like, ever make, you know, concessions or compromises or sacrifice for love. Like, it's something so foreign to him and Sherry, the idea of putting someone else before themselves. Yeah, so I drag her to the trick-or-treating thing, and she has to see her dad, and her grandmother wouldn't even give her a hug, and, you know, she immediately threw up afterwards. It was awful, and yeah, and then I started finally protecting her and listening to the therapist and not forcing her to see him and not letting him intimidate me with the whole, like, you kidnapped our kid alienation bullshit, because I didn't. She was in the same school. I did everything in my power to keep her in the school that was 20 miles away from her house, even though I didn't have a working car. The only vehicle I had was this truck, this old truck that he didn't even drive anymore. It had 300,000 miles and only 2 working gears. It only drove in second gear and reverse. And I still managed, without a job, without a house, without any income from him, to get her to school every day, 20 miles away. And then once we got kicked out of the house, 20 miles from Reading to get to her school as well. I kept, so we got kicked out of the house, and he didn't come to help us move anything into storage. You know, so it was me and 2 of my lady friends who went from being acquaintances that I, you know, knew through the local theater up here. I directed a kids play and have been in plays with my daughter because she's an incredible actress. It's definitely her passion. So I made it happen by joining the theater group up here for her. But I met these 2 women through that group, and they turned into really great friends once Tony left. So they helped me move, and he didn't come to help at all. And the next day, we had left behind a couple bags of my daughter's clothing. Actually, that's a whole other story too. The landlord and her son, like, completely sabotaged our move. But so we didn't have a bunch of clothes, and I begged Tony just to get our daughter's clothes, and he didn't get anything. He didn't get any of the things we asked him to get. You know, her clothes, her quilt that was, you know, specially made for her by my mom, with like all of my daughter's artwork from kindergarten and first grade, that was lost. It was heartbreaking. He was just like, I don't know if he was being a dick on purpose, probably, but like the fact that he was trying to hurt our kid too is just so gross and weird to me. Okay, so he moved out. We get kicked out of the house. I am now homeless with 2 cats and a kid, and I'm doing everything I can to keep her in school and in her school, and keep the cats with us so that she would at least have, you know, 2 stable things that she cared about. Meanwhile, he's moved into Sherry Papini's mansion, driving her car around that Sean Hibden bought, the mansion that Sean Hibden bought for her. And so he's living rent-free because they've never paid rent or bills there. And yet he's not giving us a dime. And I am literally fighting tooth, nail, and claw to keep us afloat. And I did. I kept us sheltered. You know, we were in hotels when I couldn't afford a hotel. We were able to stay in a teacher's Airbnb for a minute. And then we stayed at a friend's house who had 4 kids, and
her kids actually got sick while we were there, and I called Tony up begging for money. Every time I would call him and ask for money, he'd be like, you just want to use it on drugs. And I was like, what are you talking about? You haven't given us any money. Like, and then he'd be like, you're just jealous. And anyways, he never gave me a dime. He'd call me pathetic. He'd call me jealous, and then he wouldn't give us a cent. So this one time, all the kids are sick. I'm afraid Rosie's going to get sick. I beg him to help us get a motel so that she doesn't have to be around all these sick kids in this super crowded house. He didn't do it, and Rosie did get sick. Oh, shoot. I'm saying our daughter's name. I'm going to go back and try to edit that out. So our daughter did get sick, and then I got sick. And I had pneumonia so bad that I actually had a heart attack, and I got hospitalized for 5 days. And thank goodness someone stepped up to take care of my kid and bring her to the hospital to see me. But I checked out after 5 days, even though they wanted to hold me a lot longer, because I was so worried about my kid, being on her own. And his response to all that was he didn't care. I think he said something about he wished I had died and then he'd have custody. But the big joke is he doesn't actually want custody. The only condition I made for him to see her was talking to her therapist. I would have liked it if he had given us some monetary support to help with, her needs, but it wasn't a condition for him seeing her. The only thing he had to do to see her was call her therapist, and he didn't do it for 8 months. He didn't, even when I make plans for them to meet, he'd break them, he wouldn't show up. Like, I made plans for him to go to her winter recital, to take her out to dinner first and then bring her to the recital. He didn't show. The only time I think he saw her was when his parents communicated with me that they wanted to see her for Christmas, and I met them at a restaurant to exchange gifts, and they dragged him along. I kept her in the same school. He could have shown up at any of the school events. She's an outstanding student. She always gets awards. She got Student of the Year twice last year. I'm sure one was kind of a pity one, but whatever. He didn't show up at those award ceremonies. He can check the website and go to anything. Even though I was always telling him about things, like, God forbid if I'd forgotten to tell him about something, she was in the same school. He can check the website for the calendar and show up, and he never did. He dropped our kid completely, and then lied to people up here so that he would look good. And say up here, I mean in Shingletown, because we were in Reading, telling people that I kidnapped his kid, and I'm like, I didn't kidnap her. I'm just not in Shingletown anymore. But she's going to the same school, and it was hurtful, because he's telling all these lies about me. Meanwhile, he's, having his cake and eating it too, and, living the high life and traveling back and forth to New York and driving a new car, and keep in mind, I'm driving a 30-year-old truck that only goes in reverse, and $20 of gas lasts like less than an hour, sort of thing, and I still managed to do it. So for 8 months I kept us afloat, and with the help of others, we were able to have a Christmas, and what else? And then out of the blue, he sued me for custody, and that was when I finally broke my silence. I couldn't believe that he had the nerve to do that after everything he put us through, and I finally made the Reddit post, and I made a GoFundMe, because people told me to, and because I was at my wit's end, I didn't know how to support us any further. I want to point out that staying at a hotel and motel is 3 times more expensive than renting a home, and good luck renting a home when I didn't have a steady job at the time, and I did have some income, but I had 2 evictions now, and I'm trying to make ends meet every day, and not, I didn't have enough to
due a first and last month's rent and everything. So, yeah, so I made a GoFundMe and I posted about it on Reddit, and that's when he declared war. And so we've been we've been in a custody battle. He and Sherry started stalking started stalking my daughter and I, trying to find out where we were staying and calling places, pretending to be the police and intimidating people. And I can't tell you how many times he's called CPS. It's gotten to the point where they just laugh at him. He did finally start seeing our daughter's therapist, but then he promptly lied to her and told her that he was a co-owner on the house that he was living in and all this other crap to try and pretend that he's not getting evicted from the home they're staying at. He called every county service there is, because he didn't know, what we were getting, aside from, I'm sure he figured out food stamps. And he called every single county service and told them that I was committing fraud, so that I would have to triage everything and go through all these investigations, which, by the way, I did and got cleared. And yeah, and now it's at the point where I think everyone knows he's a liar, which is great, but it's still frustrating. I got hired at a place, and he called the place and told them I was a thief. Meanwhile, while I'm dealing with the custody battle with him, Sherry Papini filed a restraining order against me and then tried to sue me for defamation. And a lawyer volunteered his time pro bono, but I was like, I don't need you to, because it's such a joke of a case. I actually wanted to fight it myself and just get it thrown out, but I let this guy represent me, and that was not the best idea, because the two lawyers had a conference with the judge and then came out, and he was all flustered because obviously her lawyer lied and turned it around about the custody case, even though we were there for a restraining order that I can show you guys in the next video, where she completely lied in it, saying that I was stalking her, which I've never done. I did have pictures of his car parked at her house. Doesn't mean I was driving by her house taking pictures, but yeah, those were taken during the first month when he was lying about seeing her. She said that Phony had gotten beat up because of the things I wrote online. And trust me, in a small town, especially with him, if he had gotten beat up, everyone would have heard about it. He'd tell everyone and be the biggest crying baby. So I know that was just a made-up lie. She was upset that I said that she didn't have custody of her kids. She said that she has custody now or something. Or that I said that the courts barred her from her kids or something. But whatever. And my lawyer fumbled and got all flustered. And then the judge came out, and I wasn't sure if there was a settlement agreement or if he just dismissed it outright. But the lawyer, didn't stop to talk to me afterwards and ran off, and then never returned my calls for the custody case. So I'm back on my own again with that. But that's been going okay, because Tony keeps lying and breaking the court mediation or the court rules about visitation. So, I'm just letting him shoot himself in the foot. And as long as I keep being honest and only telling the truth and, keep taking care of my kid, then I think we're fine. Oh, I did get us housing. We're in a little 2-bedroom cabin in the woods. I want to move away from Shingletown so that there's more distance between Phony and I, but that's my next step. He has tried to terrorize us. I have text messages that his friends have sent me where he reaches out to the entire Clamper group, searching for me and basically talking about these horrible things he's going to do. I don't know what else to say. I know doing this is going to piss him off again. And then not that long ago, I got an inquiry from a U.S., I think it's U.S. Weekly,
for Us Weekly magazine, where Sherry Papini said that, you know, we were split up when she met my partner, and said that it's so like pathetic and sad that I want something from him and that I just need to get a job and move on. And I'm like, bitch, I've moved on. I don't want him. I'm glad you have him. Thank you for taking out my trash. You know, like, thank God. But don't tell people how to behave when you've been a shit person who hasn't supported herself in, what, 10 years? I mean, when's the last time you worked? And we know that whenever you have money, you don't spend it on your kids. You spend it on yourself. I've sacrificed for my kid. My kid had no idea we were poor until we were homeless. You know, like, she thought we were rich. I throw 2 parties a year for my daughter because her birthday's around Christmas. So every year I throw a very merry unbirthday in the summer, and we call it the Kid Olympics. And all year I save up money and I buy toys, these amazing prizes for kids, like stuffies and Lego sets. And we have all the kids in our class and kids from our, you know, drama and baseball come out, and we set up a Kid Olympics in the park. And the kids get to take home first prize, second prize, third prize. Basically, everyone will win first prize over something. And, you know, we do 3-leg races and, you know, egg races and balloon races and balloon tosses and water balloon tosses and, you know, the thing where you hold, like, the orange under your neck and transfer it and run. Like, I'm a good mom. My daughter, before she started kindergarten, could read and write, and that's because we played school all the time, and I taught her how to do all those things. The fact that this woman is now trying to get my kid, or the fact that he only wants my kid because she's got this fantasy that she's getting her daughter back, and that he broke the court order and introduced our daughter to her quote-unquote stepmom. And then the woman, then Sherry claims, you know, less than a week later that they're not together. Like, really? He still lives with you. He drives your car everywhere. He broke court orders and lost his overnight visitation that was supposed to happen to introduce our daughter to you. But yet you guys aren't together? You're single, Sherry? Really? Shut the fuck up. And stop telling people what I need to do. You know, like, pot, meat kettle, bitch, look in a mirror. You're disgusting. And the fact that you have actively tried to make my life hell, shame on you. Shame on you. Don't you have any grace or dignity? Leave me the fuck alone. You already got my man. Not that I wanted him. Like, I'm glad you got him. Thank you. Thank you for taking him off my hands. But why the fuck would you keep coming after me? And she does. I got a call recently from another friend of hers who said that she's concerned because Sherry has a fixation and hatred of me, and that she spends hours online, like, trying to sully my name. I haven't been online. I haven't spoken publicly since the restraining order hearing. I dropped it again. So, like, for the first 6 to 8 months, I was silent, and then I spent another 2 months being silent. And it doesn't work with these people. When I'm quiet, they get more aggressive and more crazy and meaner, and they fight harder. They give me no option but to fight back. I don't want to have my face out here. I don't want my name associated with Sherry Papini's. But I have no choice. I think the only way to fight someone like this is to shout just as loud as she does. And to only stick to the truth. Because thank God I have the facts and I have evidence to prove everything I'm saying. Whereas neither of those two can prove any of the shit they're saying. They went online and said I have a criminal background and a criminal record or whatever. Prove it. Show me. This is the cops were looking for me. I actually got pulled over twice when I had pneumonia, when I should have been hospitalized, but I wasn't yet. And guess what? I got tickets, but nothing more happened. I've actually been pulled over since. Had really nice talks with the cops. They just lie. They are liars. Lying liars, as I think her friend Nicole or Nikki said. Also, my worst fears came true. Phony and Sherry stole my kid. We were just supposed to start shared custody, and instead of returning her, they kept her. And it has been a nightmare for about 2 weeks. They did it over the holiday break so that the courts were closed, and I have been running around and scrambling, but I am so disenfranchised and impoverished. It's been so hard. I am 40 miles from the courthouse, maybe 30, I don't know, but 30, 40 miles from the courthouse. Other people up here, it's a poor community. Getting rides to Reading is extremely hard. There is a bus, but it costs $10, and I don't, even to print papers for court, I have to get to a library first. And then it'd be one thing if they were fighting fairly, but they're not. They're fighting dirty. They're lying. They're basically, Tony has a team of people working for him. He's got Sherry Papini as his full-time legal secretary. Everything he turns into court is handwritten by her. Instead of fighting her own custody case, she's fighting me for my child. It's weird. It's almost like maybe she's given up on hers and she just wants mine now. I honestly don't know. Another thing is, when my daughter and I moved into our own place, and I set up utilities, the very first month I started getting cutoff notices from the brand new utilities I set up. It's because at our last place, Boney changed bills into my name without ever letting me know, and then never paid the bills in full, especially during COVID. So I signed up for PG&E at my new place, and a month later I'm told I need to pay $3,000. And then I look into it and find out, it's because, he opened it up at our other place and never paid them. So I reach out and I say, you need to help me pay this bill. It is winter. It's the mountains. It gets really cold up here. It snows. I don't have wood for our wood fire. Of course he doesn't pay the bill. He hasn't paid anything. This is part of the fight. He would rather watch our child suffer. He tries to we got food stamps right when he left. And because he left in an eviction, we were homeless when he left and was living in Sherry's other boyfriend's mansion. So while he was living the high life that he didn't have to pay rent for, he let my child go without a house or a roof over her head. He did not get her clothes out of the house. I requested him to get some of her clothes when we were evicted, and he did not do it. So I had to buy her all new clothes, get her to school, do all these things without a vehicle, without a job, a full-time job. It has been a fight, and part of the fight is him not giving me the money, but then putting me in situations where I need to have money to fight him. So he files weekly frivolous motions with the court that I need to respond to. I need to get up and down to the court. I need to take the time to write them and print them, and go to the library to print them, and then get to the courthouse. And that means I have to ride a $10 bus at 6 in the morning and then take it home at 5:20 at night, which, the last time I actually had to do that, it didn't get home till 9:30. So even though it was my day for custody with my child, I had her spend the night at her dad's, because I'm not going to just disrupt her after she's already been with him for dinner and everything, because I'm traveling because he made me travel that day to get to the courthouse to do all these things. It has been such a dirty, horrible, unfair fight. And I just found out too that it has been Sherry and his dad fighting more than him. I was very surprised today to find this out from the DA's office, actually.
not that surprised, because I've seen some very weird videos of Sherry and his dad flirting that are so uncomfortable and creepy. And keep in mind, they are living in a house right now that Tony's father bought for him and Sherry. He rewarded his son leaving his wife and kid during an eviction after another eviction that he caused. He didn't pay rent for 10 months, and he lied about it to me, to his dad, to everyone. And then I foolishly went to court thinking the landlord had filed the wrong sort of eviction against us, like he wanted to sell the house or something, and then find out, nope, we haven't paid rent in 10 months, even though I've been giving him money monthly. He just wasn't paying rent with it. And I cannot tell you how ashamed and embarrassed and disgusted I was. And I actually turned to his dad and said, like, you need to step up and vouch for him, or I'm not going to let him move in with me, our daughter, to the next place. Because it was me and my family saving the day all the time, and his son kept fucking up our lives. And so I turned to his dad and I'm like, this time you need to put money up. You need to split the cost of the first and last month's rent and security deposit. And you need to vouch for 2 months of rent with him, because he can't pay rent on his own. He just won't do it. And did the dad ever help? No. But he insisted his fat, lazy, drunk son move in with me and my daughter, or I'm a bad person. So that piece of shit finally leaves me, which I'm grateful for. But does the dad step up to help his granddaughter or me after I've been carrying his son's weight for all these years? No. He rewards his son and Sherry with a $650,000 home. He bought them a home that costs more than the home he lives in, with rooms for all the kids that they don't have. Well, now they have one. They've got mine. Really freaking unfairly, too. I am looking for any sort of emotional support, guidance. If you are a young law school grad who's passed the bar in California and want to make a name for yourself by, fighting in a case with Sherry Papini, please reach out to me. I will take your help. Please. If you know a paralegal in Shasta County, if out of the kindness of your heart you want to throw me some bus money, like, I will. If you've been there, if you've been in my shoes, if you're a mom who's had to battle, in this patriarchal setup society where it's a no-fault state, and men can just leave their families and then raise, get custody of these kids that they haven't raised or had anything to do with for years. Like, if you've been there, and I don't know, I was gonna say and it worked out for you, then let me know. But I mean, even if it hasn't, heck, I guess misery loves company. I just need support, because I have been a mess. I could post the videos of me weeping and crying and snot dripping everywhere, because being torn from my daughter is so unnatural. It hurts worse than death. But I think it's because death is natural. It's a part of life. But like, having your daughter ripped from you is not natural. It feels horrible. And the worry I have about her now, too, living with these two people who clearly don't give a crap about her actual well-being.
Because Tony is at our house right now, and I've been talking to Sherry. He is not aware of this, but I've been talking to Sherry, and I heard a little piece of audio of a conversation that you had with Tony while he was there. And I heard what Tony's saying is that you are supposedly drugged up on fentanyl.
Oh my God.
Okay, yeah, exactly. Now listen to me.
Oh my God.
I know what people on fentanyl sound like and how they act, and you are in that conversation, in that little clip, you were very lucid. You are not nodding off. You are not sounding at all like you are drugged up.
No, I'm angry because he's fucking Sherry Papini, and we've been together 15 years, and we have a child. And now I'm getting calls at 12 at night from, no offense, some random girl on my phone. Like, I'm sorry, I'm shaking because this isn't my life. And now he's saying I'm on fentanyl. He's disgusting. What a disgusting piece of shit.
This is what he's telling Sherry. Now listen to me.
Okay, thank you.
I'm a very close friend of Sherry.
Okay.
And Sherry tells me everything.
Okay.
She has not fucked him.
Well, who cares? I don't care if they fuck. This is crazy.
She doesn't want to fuck him. She doesn't want to do any of that. If he's saying that, he's lying.
Yeah, he's told me they fucked, they're in love. I did hear conversations where they're like baby talking each other. My kid recorded them. My kid has recorded them.
And calls everybody baby. That's just the way she is.
No, I mean where they're like, where she's like, I can't wait to have, you back in my mouth and all this stupid shit. Whatever. They're both idiots. I don't care.
You heard this conversation?
A recorded conversation that my child, my 10-year-old recorded. Because that's how drunk and stupid he's been acting. He's been doing this in front of our 10-year-old.
She said, I can't wait to have you back in my mouth?
Yes, whatever the fuck that means. So, that's on recording. I've heard it.
I do know that they have kissed. That's all that probably was.
Bullshit. I don't care, whatever. And he's at her house right now. Does she not think this is a smart idea? Having some married dude while she's living in some other dude's house? Is she this stupid? Sorry, I'm losing my mind. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Nikki, I'm sorry.
I understand you're very frustrated. However, what he's told her is that you guys are not together.
Then why do we live together, and why does she keep hearing me screaming at him on the phone when I catch him talking to her? This is insane.
Yeah, I know. He's doing that. I don't like him.
He's a horrible person.
Yeah. But she is not the type of person to actually... I know that there's a lot of things that have been said on the media about her, but I know her very, very well. And she is not the type of person that is going to willingly break up on that.
I don't care. We're broken up now. It's over now. It's over. I wish they stay together because I really hope... What? As of tonight, it is officially over. He just broke down 2 doors in my house.
He broke down the doors?
Yes. While I was locked in the bathroom, he kicked down the door. Kicked it down. Broke giant holes in my daughter's bed door to the bathroom. That's what he did tonight. And I called the cops, and it's over. I'm never letting him come near us again. So she can have him. Seriously.
She doesn't want him.
Then why is he at her house?
First of all.
Please, seriously, I don't care. I want them to get together. I think it's going to be funny when he gets fucked over by Sherry Papini. That's funny to me. So please encourage that relationship with everything you got.
No. I'm not encouraging her. The relationship, she does not have a relationship with him. He is trying to have a relationship with her. But she might flirt. She flirts a little bit here and there because she likes the attention, but she doesn't.
Dude, whatever. She's pathetic. She's a liar. He's a liar. They deserve each other. You can't defend Sherry Papini to me. You want to know what's funny? I didn't even follow the story when it was happening. Wait, listen to me real quick. Listen to me.
Okay.
When it happened, I didn't follow it. Because I don't care about some bitch faking or kidnapping. I think that's bizarre and weird and pathetic, right? So I never even followed it when it happened. He was super into it. You should see all the shit he had to erase from Facebook when he met her because he had made fun of her so hard up until then. When he found out she moved up here, he did all these posts about how Shingletown Pizzeria needs to make a Mexican pizza that says it has... or a taco pizza, but then it has no Mexican food on it. Call it the Sherry Papini special and all that shit, right? Tons and tons of posts about this stupid bitch moving to Shingletown. And how, why would she move to a small town? Because we're all gonna, run her out and all this shit. The second he meets her, he has to delete all these stupid posts. I had never even, followed the story. And then I finally, after he, starts fucking her, I finally watched the documentary. And I'm like, wow, she's a moron. So, go ahead, be with your moron. Your fake high school graduate who, whatever. Go be with her. Dude, seriously, make my day. He's been a shitty guy for 15 years. I tried to break up with him when I was pregnant. And I even said, I'll tell everyone we know that you're not the father so that you don't look like the bad guy. So when I break up with him pregnant, because I knew what a shitty guy he was back then, 10 years ago. So, yeah, seriously, I'm done. They can have each other. Thank you for calling me. I appreciate you trying to be good.
Hold on a second, okay? Because I know a lot of things have been said about her, but you haven't heard her side of the story.
I don't care to.
Nobody has heard side of hold on. Nobody has heard her side of the story.
It doesn't look good. I'm sorry, no offense, Nikki. I'm sure you're a great person. Oh, I was about to say something mean. I'm sorry.
Honestly, what she is doing now, the work she is doing, she is starting to do now, right now, She is trying to help people that have been in situations.
Oh, I've heard it. Listen, listen.
Kidnapping.
Nikki, this girl is a dime a dozen. I've met a million liars like her. And when they get caught in their lies, they try to play themselves off to be the big victim and to be helping people and all that shit. Listen, you're going to be disappointed down the road too. One day she'll hurt you too. Because that's what people like her do.
It's not like that. It's not like that. And
she lied to her own kids, her own husband.
But what he's been telling you is she hasn't done anything with him.
Then why is he at her house right now? Why would she let him in?
He ran over saying that you called the police on him and said...
I did call the police on him. Because he tried to break in and kill me. It was scary.
I need your help. So he's doing her floors in her house, and he's trying to be like more than what he is.
Yeah, by the way, he's not even qualified to do that. He's hired by a guy who does floors. He doesn't have a contractor's license or anything. He's just a loser. Whatever. Okay, thank you for calling me. Have a good night. Like, thank you for giving me the heads up, because I don't know what I need to do to protect myself if he's telling these sort of lies about me. But
yo, this is the weirdest call. Like, this lady's over here defending Sherry Papini and telling her that, you know, it's her son. I mean, it's her son. It's her husband that's the one that's doing all this, and not. This is so crazy. Like, how she's really being manipulated by Sherry Papini, and she's calling this woman to tell her, like, why are you even calling? Like, and this her name is Merely Cat. Merely Cat is telling her, like, I don't care, why are you calling? And she's trying to explain to her how good of a person Sherry Papini is, when Sherry Papini was caught lying about her kidnapping because she went to cheat on her husband. This is insane. Why are you calling me, lady?
I just have to hope that
Sherry is the type of person that she has no idea what the real story is.
Well, that's the thing. You talk to anyone in town.
She would be helping you, not him.
If you talk to anyone in town, they're going to know who I am, because I direct kids' plays and shit up here. I'm a very active mom. You know, like, I'm not that worried about it. He's known as the town drunk. And I'm like the one who never goes out, and I stay home and I take care of my kid. So I'm not too worried about what he has to say. So there's that.
He's been lying to her to try and get into her past. It's not going to happen.
Well, I don't care. I hope it does. Like I said, I hope it does.
He's been lying to her.
Okay, well, whatever. Thank you. So thank you for telling me that. Now I know that he's more a villain than I even suspected. So thank you. Okay.
For you, because this is my friend.
I get it. You're trying to defend your friend. I get it.
Should she be worried that he's in her house right now? Should she be afraid?
I don't think it's that serious, but I mean, whatever. He's just a loser. He's just a drunk loser. That's all he is. With a small dick, by the way. And that's the other thing, because I was like laughing, going, of course she hasn't fucked him. The moment she sees this tiny dick, she's going to be like, no, thank you. You know, it's so small that even I was like, this is a little weird. You know, when I met him, like, it was a little uncomfortable.
She's not interested in him like that at all. But she does flirt with everybody.
She flirts really hard. Give me your phone number. I'll send you the text. I'll send you photos of what she's written. And the naked photos she's sending, that tells me she's interested. So you can't really claim this, Nikki. She's lying to you if she's saying this. She sent him naked photos. I have them. I went through his phone. That's what started this today. I took his phone. I went through it.
Okay, let me see. My phone number?
Yeah.
My phone number? 520.
Hold on. I gotta figure out how to write it down. I'm like walking around pacing like a crazy person instead of... Give me a second. Sorry. Jesus Christ. I'm sorry. This is so stressful. Okay, hold on.
Okay, so I finally got the paperwork from the temporary restraining order that Sherry Papini filed against me. Let's see, like 2 months ago, I think it was, like the very beginning of May. Okay, so I was supposed to be served with this paperwork, but big surprise, somehow it was left out. Every court thing I've been dealing with these two, my ex and Papini, they never do proper service. Like, they always leave out the important documentation. I don't know if it's on purpose or if they're both retards. Okay, so here's the paperwork. First page is pretty self-explanatory, but note section 3, additional protected persons. No one is listed, right? Okay. Let's skip to the next page. Okay, now it starts getting interesting. So, in number 3, it doesn't have any protected persons included. Let's see, relationship of parties, blah, blah. Conveniently left out. She included that, she was harassed and, she filed against me for stalking. Keep in mind, this is a woman that I have, the only times I've seen her in real life is when she drove by the house that my daughter and I were staying at, looking for us. And it was multiple times. One time she was alone, and other times she was with my ex, Anthony. And there was no reason for them to be driving by. You know, every time he needed to meet me to serve me with anything or whatever, I instantly appeared. So they were just literally harassing and stalking me and making sure I was aware that they knew where I was. Okay. So, let's see, other court cases. Okay, so look at, so in number 3, she left Tony out. But in number 6, they ask, have any of the persons named in number 3 been involved in court cases with, you know, the person that you're claiming? And it includes custody, paternity, eviction, and all these other things that we have had, you know, interactions with, my ex and I. But then it goes down to section 7, and guess what? Guess who's mentioned? So the date she includes is 4/27/2025. Not sure what's special about that, except, as we go on, it says, who else was there? This concerns internet harassment. Other parties present during stalking, my ex, Anthony Bickle. And then she puts in, Anthony Bickle was also assaulted, in handwriting. Then we move on. Oh, God, it's so funny. And, let's see. In section 7, it asks, how did the person harass you? And she wrote, from December 2024 to current, Ms. Perrick has stalked my home. Attached is her confirmation of behavior on a recent post made on 4/26/25. Ms. Perrick has now posted several hate, slander, and defamatory statements via her GoFundMe and other social media sites. As a result, my current partner, Anthony Bickle, was assaulted on 4/27/2025 on the next day, so 4/28/2025, she began receiving threats left on my answering machine, and I am afraid of my safety. And then she wrote in handwriting, 4/29/25, received additional threat on the answering machine regarding Miss Perrick, threats of harm. Keep in mind, I have never called this woman. I've never spoken to this woman. So the threats, if she got any, which I've sincerely doubt, this is a woman who chronically lies, if she got any, they were from other people, and very probably people she knew that she told to call. Anyways, let's move on. Were you injured? No. Have I threatened to use a gun or anything? No. Which is funny because, not against her, but it was, you know, supposedly recorded the time that I told my ex not to come back to the house after he threatened to kill me, because I did have access to his guns. And I wasn't going to kill him. I was just saying that, you know, you can't come here and murder me because I will protect myself. Who knows if I would have ever had the guts to, you know, shoot him in the foot or anything, but probably not. However, you know, you think, my point being, the reason she doesn't want that released is because it
it has both of them on there. Tony drunk as a skunk, slurring so badly that it's obvious, that he's completely inebriated. And I believe it's the same recording in which she threatened my daughter. So, yeah, of course she's not going to mention that. Were you harmed or injured? No. Let's see. Did the police come? No, of course not, because nothing's actually happening. Let's move on. Okay, next page. Okay, section 8, personal conduct orders. She wants, so she clicked all the applicable boxes. That I'm, not to harass, intimidate, molest, attack, strike, stalk, threaten, sexually or otherwise, hit, abuse, destroy, or blah, 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 blah. Contact the person either directly or indirectly in any way, including but not limited to in person, by phone, in writing, by public or private mail, interoffice mail, email, text message, fax, blah, blah, blah. All the things I've never done. And then other, she had to specify out, other, of course. She wants me to remove her name from my social media sites and any internet harassment, causing threats of harm from strangers, because I control the actions of strangers, right? And then again, she wants to stay 200 yards away from everything, including her kids that she, has no custody of. Okay, crazy. And then in the other, she wrote, do not post on social media. Big surprise. Okay, let's see, what else? Firearms, guns. She's like, I don't know if she has one. No, you're with my ex. You know that I don't have any weapons. He took the 10 plus guns. Let's see, temporary restraining order. Yes. We're on the next page. Okay, so, request to give less than 5 days notice of hearing, which was hilarious. Didn't get it. And then she wrote, my partner has already been assaulted as a response to her online harassment. She knows where I live and stalked me locally. No, bitch. Never stalked you locally. There's not even proof that I'm the one who drove by her house and took pictures. We'll talk about that later, too, because she obviously can't read. That's what happens when you don't graduate from high school. Oh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't say anything that I'm not 100% certain about. Maybe she graduated from high school. I know she talks about her college friends from the college she never went to, so that's good fun. Let's see what else. No filing fee. The sheriff should serve me, which didn't happen. My ex did. And there should be no filing fee in the sheriff, blah, blah. Yeah, because she's claiming in here that she's entitled to a fee waiver. So supposedly, all the $3 million that Anthony has gone around town bragging about her getting from HBO, that doesn't count. She's destitute, according to this. Okay, let's see what else. Next page. All right. Number of pages attached to this form, 4. And here's where we get into her proof. It is good fun. Okay. Oh, and of course, no lawyer listed on this, even though she showed up with a lawyer twice and they never filed for her to be on the case like you were supposed to. Okay. So here we go. This is her proof. This is good fun. 427, conversation on social media regarding stalking. Catherine Perrick has continued to stalk me, and I've been trying to obtain proof. Yeah, because she supposedly has cameras all around her house, and yet she has no proof of all the stalking I've done of her. That's sarcasm, just in case you're not sure. Okay. Below is a post created by Miss Perrick verifying that she drives past my home, located on a cul-de-sac and not on a main road in a private neighborhood, taking photos of my home. I have multiple no trespassing signs posted around stating firmly that no photos or videos are permitted. My partner has been assaulted as a result of her posts, and I am now receiving threats on my answer machine, which have been saved. All right, let's hear them. Or let's even see like a transcript of them, because she never included anything like that. Sorry, there's a cat crawling on me. Okay, let's see. So here's what she included as her proof. It's under Reddit. It's a screenshot from her phone.
It's the forum or the subreddit where I posted my initial story, like my story. I say story, I worry about that word because internet trolls are going to say, oh, it's made up. But no, this is just my actual, true, factual story. Talking about what's happened with this crazy woman and my ex. And yeah. Okay, so she found where someone said, post proof. And I wrote at the time, all I have are pictures of his vehicle parked outside their home in the driveway. So that's her proof that I've been driving by taking photos. I said, I have photos of his vehicle in her driveway. Doesn't mean that I drove by and took them. Yeah, but this is what happens when you get an idiot who doesn't know how to read. Okay, now here's her next page of proof. It's just photos of her gate. I'm assuming it's her gate. Visible signs on every side of the fence of my property stating photos and videos are prohibited. She wrote is prohibited, but she's talking about a plural thing, so she meant are. But once again, she's so fucking intelligent. Okay, so yeah. So she's put a sign on a gate that says you can't take photos from the street. Bitch, that's not how the laws of America work. Sorry. But okay, yeah, you can change the Constitution and change what people are allowed to do. Because in your fantasy world, you can wave a magic wand and whatever. Next page. Screenshots from 327 of civil libel, slander, and defamation posted by Catherine Perrick. I have not been barred from the court, nor have any legal disputes against me regarding my children. Okay, so this is where my lawyer fumbled too. And I knew I should have just gone and argued for myself, because my guy got way flustered, which is no comment. It was just annoying. I've never made one before. This is the first. I felt horrible and tacky making it. But I kept meeting people telling me, make a GoFundMe. And I finally did. So, but they don't want me to have access to any funds or help or support because they want to, A, control the narrative, B, they want the kid, which is bizarre because he doesn't actually want the kid. And I hope to God she doesn't see this video one day. But she knows. I mean, she's a very mature 11-year-old. She's aware of what's going on. Her dad is supposed to be calling her every Wednesday and seeing her on Sundays. He never calls. If it was me, this never would have happened. But I would be stalking my child if she was mad or disappointed and didn't want to see me. I'd be doing everything I could in my power to make sure she knows that I love her and I miss her and I'm sorry and all the rest of it. He just abandoned her for 8 months. No contact, no support. And then decided he wants custody to look good. Or maybe because Sherry needs a new daughter. I don't know. Anywho, so yeah. The only thing that she could actually complain about in the GoFundMe, I guess, is where it said she didn't highlight it. It would have been nice if she had. Let's see. Anyways, I think I just wrote, I can't find it. Oh, there. I said, talking about he wanted to bring my daughter to his house, where Sherry Papini, a woman who the courts have barred from seeing her own children, would have access to my daughter. Instead, I got sick, blah, 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 blah. Okay. That's it. That was her big complaint. She's saying the courts didn't bar her. Keith did. I think that was her argument. But whatever. Keith has the support of the courts. You've been going to court to try and get custody of your kids, and it hasn't been working. So what does that mean? Are the courts barring you from custody? Like, according to you, no. So maybe you should explain it, Sherry. Okay.
So, first thing that happened was my ex was supposed to have my daughter for his first week of shared custody. But I was supposed to see her on her birthday, and he scheduled plans on her birthday, and bought tickets and stuff. So for her other friends to go to the movies, and then canceled my day with her, saying like, oh, the tickets are already bought, so she can't see you that day. When I asked for a different day, he told me to go F myself. I guess she said something because he acquiesced and brought her to my house the next day at 7 in the morning, which would have been great, except she hadn't gone to bed the night before at his house until 2 or 3 in the morning, so she was exhausted. So I have this cranky, weird kid all day who's already acting extremely strange because she's just spent 3 or 4 days with her dad, and who knows what he's been putting in his head. This kid and I have been super close for 10 years, you know. Basically, it's like us living in a house with this other person. And now, after 4 days with her dad and Harry Panini, you know, things are suddenly really weird. So, you know, I'm trying to act like it's not a big deal. I spend a lot of money getting her birthday presents that day. And a lot of money for me, I guess. And then I'm supposed to have her for the custody exchange on the 26th of December. Because I'm super nice. I let him have her on Thanksgiving this year. Because he said her cousins were coming into town. But big surprise, none of the cousins wanted to hang out with him and Harry Panini. So there weren't any young people at the you know, parents' Thanksgiving at all. It was just the regular family. But I let her go to his house for Christmas too, because I'm a jerk, and I should have. Because I've been playing fair, like stupidly playing fair this whole time, when he's been not. So he pulls this stunt during the week before Christmas, where he goes to the judge and tries to get a temporary emergency order, granting him custody. The judge says no. No. Does he return her to me? No. He goes around the judge to the DA. And I don't know what he said to the DA to get someone in that office to sign off on this. But someone there signed off on a good cause order, which is ridiculous. The only time they do that is if there's a danger to the child, an immediate danger to the child, which obviously there is in my, you know, custody. It's just him fear-mongering and lying. So it's funny too, because he wrote into, so every week he files something with the courts, you know, lots and lots of motions, lots of ex partes and temporary and contempt orders and all this stuff. Basically anything that has been filed against Harry Panini in her case, he uses against me and ours, although the two aren't quite equal. So, you know, I never abandoned my kids. Not even in this week he took her away from me. I've been texting and calling nonstop, telling her that, like, everything's fine and I love her, and, you know, I just hope she's happy and having a good time at her dad's and trying to act like everything's okay. So he even wrote into, actually it's funny, it's because it's not him. She writes all his court papers for him. Her, like, full-time job is his legal secretary. You know, fighting against me for my kid. It's cuckoo. But, and you can tell it's her too, because she always misspells his last name wrong. And lots of other little things. Just, you know someone for 16 years, you know how they talk. And it's really obvious when it's her. And if it's written, like if it's a typed up document, it's always her. So she even put into the custody order, I suggest she has supervised visitation at the same place she has supervised visitation. Fucking crazy. And it wouldn't be that big of a deal if it was just him and her fighting me. But he's got his shady dad, funding him, purchased them a house, pays his car payments. I'm sure pays all the rent and food and bills and all that kind of stuff, because I know when I lived with him, he couldn't afford to do it. The only difference is now he's banned from our local bar. So he doesn't spend as much money at the bar as he used to. But we'll see how long that lasts. Okay. So, yeah, I'm sharing this because what else can I do at this point? I'm carless, navigating, just trying to get down to the library just to print. And the library was closed today. So I had to get someone at our local medical center to print documents for me. I'm going to send to the DA's office. But even with that, it's New Year's now, and how quickly can they overturn this stuff? And even if they do overturn it, there's no guarantee he'll give me the kid back. I'd have to traumatize her with a police visit. And good luck to me trying to get sheriffs to come 40 miles up the road, to the unincorporated Shasta County. Okay, tell me if the story happened to anyone else. So, back when Google phones first came out, my ex, who I like to call Phony, because his name kind of rhymes. So, Phony got a new Google phone and was loving it, playing around with all the new features and having a great old time with, this amazing new phone with an awesome camera and video capabilities. And one day he woke up and he went from having, 33 or maybe it was 300 friends, but to 17,000 friends. Maybe it was even 70,000. I just remember it was a huge number. And he wakes up and he's like, oh my God, what's going on? All of a sudden I'm super popular. I've gone viral. And he's looking at the list and it's all these gay men. And, we're kind of like, what is going on? And it turns out that all the photos he was taking on his phone, any photo or video, was being uploaded to his Google account to a public setting. And the big one that had got all this attention and was making all the gay men in the world want to be his best friend was a video he took in our daughter's room of him with a cucumber. Yeah. Not that he was going into the cucumber was going into him. And I was surprised, to say the least. It was a little shocking. The most concerning thing was what did you do with the cucumber? Please tell me you threw it out. Please tell me I didn't eat that later. And then to find out that it was actually a thing with a whole bunch of other vegetables in the house. Oh my God. Oh my God. The beautiful thing is, after 3 weeks of searching, years later, I was actually able to find the video. So I guess, bonus points to those of you who want to search through a lot of weird fetish stuff looking for it. But it's out there. Yeah, just wondering, did anything similar happen to anyone else?
Yeah, that is crazy. He wakes up with 17,000 new followers, all gay men, because he uploaded a video of him putting a cucumber up his butt. That is wild. We're going to stop it right there, man. Everyday people, what it do? It's your boy PJ. Today we back with another lit video back at the confessional. Yes, we stay lit, big dog. All right. Make sure y'all hit that like, comment, and subscribe. We watch this live on Twitch. So her name is Catherine. She goes by Merely Cat on TikTok. I went to TikTok. I was like, well, let me see what's on TikTok about this story. So I come across the story of Sherry Panini faking a kidnapping of herself. Right? And so this lady says Sherry Panini stole her husband. And I was just like, oh, this looks like a... So Merely Cat only has maybe 90 followers or something. It's something very small, but y'all go show us some support. Because this story is very interesting. So after the Sherry Panini story goes to HBO and all this other stuff. And she's moving to the town, and everybody knows who she is. Her husband knows. This woman's husband, Merely Cat, her husband knows. And then he finds a romantic interest in her. Then, so shout out to her. Thank you for sharing your story. I don't think she's crazy. I think she's well within her rights to tell her side of the story of what's going on. This woman is pretty much came and ruined her marriage that it was already through. Her husband was a dirtbag. And at like her being from where she is, I'm pretty sure it's not like there's just a run of meal of men, great men just running around for her to latch on to. But unfortunately, she spent 16 years with this guy, has a kid with this guy, and I wonder how the kid is holding up in this situation. She's probably okay because of the fact that the father has a mule, which we would call Sherry Panini is his mule. Like she has his money, but I'm gonna just let you know, once that money is gone, so is he. This story will come and go in the wind, just like everything else. Like, and money, that money gonna dry up. It's probably going out faster than it's coming in. So, you know, the friend's name is Nikki. Nikki is a friend of Sherry Panini who made that phone call, that weird phone call. I thought that was the worst phone call ever. It was just like her friend was just trying to overtalk her and tell her about her husband. It's like, girl, and the girl was like, they're not together, but all in the paperwork for the PTO, she was like, my partner. So they are together. Like, how is Nikki not seeing this? Like, Nikki, girl, come to the front of the congregation. We need to have a talk, because you literally are trying to convince other people that your friend isn't a dirtbag. Your friend is trash. She is full blown trash. Okay? So I think once we get this story out there, it'll start to gain some traction, and just she'll get it out there about Sherry Panini. Sherry Panini is a dirtbag, for real. Sherry Panini does not belong with the rest of us. She already blamed some Mexicans or some Latinas. I'm pretty sure we're speaking Mexicans, of kidnapping her when she was off cheating with another man. Okay, so by the way, there may be some manipulation, but there's the only manipulation that Sherry Papini is doing is to her husband, and he's using money. The husband wants to be used, or her cat's husband, ex-husband. I'm assuming it will be at some point. She's manipulating him with money. He's only there for the payday. He doesn't really care about it. He was a dirtbag before. He'll be a dirtbag after. So also what else happened? Man, it was so much that happened in the story. I always be thinking of stuff, and it just always goes away, because I sit there and listen to these entire stories, and I just be like, man, that is one strange deal. But maybe she'll get her daughter back. We'll pray for that. But I think, like, with the custody situation, they're gonna make it a big deal, because she's actually going through some financial struggles, but I believe she'll get past that. Especially without that leech on her arm. It may take her some time, but she'll get it together, and she'll get her daughter back, especially if her daughter wants to come back. I believe her daughter is being manipulated also, not with love, but with money. The dad, just because the dad got money don't make him a better parent. He's probably lying to her too. So And Sherry Panini, oh yeah, Sherry Panini doesn't even have custody of her own kids. The court doesn't see her fit enough to have her own kids. Why is her boyfriend fit to have kids and he's an alcoholic? Ma'am, he won't live past his liver. Okay, so he'll be checking out very soon, and soon enough, Sherry Papini will check out with him. Um, and I think the reason why he's probably satisfying her sexually because, you know, she's about this big, okay, about as big as my pinky. So whatever it takes for him to deal with her, you know, it is what it is. But I think like one thing, she's gonna get over this. I think she's over it. She's not over it, but this is her part of healing. A lot of people are starting to come to TikTok for healing, and as sometimes I say, man, TikTok is the wrong place to go get information. I mean, to get healing. Sherry has been lying to the judge in court, filing frivolous charges and TPOs. Sherry ain't, yeah, that's right. Sherry is not worth a damn. And filing fake charges is crazy. Um, yeah, he's too drunk to even put it down sexually. But I think she's gonna get over this. But this is her way of just saying, I'm just gonna put the story out and get it out and get it over with. She doesn't want She doesn't want to deal with this continuously. She wants to move past this. She wants to get her daughter back. I believe one of the reasons why she's putting this story out is because of her daughter. And she wants everybody to know what's really going on in this small town and how her terrible ex-husband or soon-to-be ex-husband somewhere down the line